Good afternoon and welcome to Nationwide, this first workday in the year 2020. Happy New Year. We're starting with good news for Nigerians, as it was indeed another promise kept by the President Muhammadu Buhari administration, as civil servants under the purview of the federal government received in full the arrears of their new national minimum wage. Chukunonso Mwabezi interacted with some civil servants in Awka.
Records have shown that the month of January has over the years been the most tasking for many Nigerians, especially civil servants, due to huge demands associated with the month. However, the case seems different this year following what happened at the tail end of 2019, with the bombardment of the mobile phones of federal civil servants on salaries grade levels 8 and above, with the credit allowance of the arrears of their 2019 new national minimum wage, which they refer to as the best New Year 2020 gifts.
I will say that it comes at the appropriate time, because at least, if not for anything, we, the civil servant, we needed it most now. We could have loved it to come before Christmas, but God knows the best that it came after. We have been expecting it since, and since it has been done, we thank the government. And then we pray that the states will also emulate what the federal government have done.
We have to be appreciative to the government in the first instance, because it is not easy. This is matching statements, with action.
While commending the federal government for keeping to its promise, the need for sustenance as key to transforming the nation's civil service is being advocated.
We are quite appreciative that the government, at the end of the day, have decided to pay the minimum wage.
We expect that government should do well in this new year to also improve.
The mood of the civil servants, many believe, will motivate them to putting in their best towards ensuring that the programs and policies of the federal government impact positively on the populace. In Awka, Chukunonso Mwabezi, NTA News.
And residents of Makurdi, the Benue state capital, are optimistic that the January-December budget cycle of the federal government will turn the fortunes of the nation around this year 2020. They were speaking on their expectations on the new year. Over now to Hussaini Mohammed Isa.
In spite of the pockets of challenges, Nigeria no doubt made tremendous achievements in 2019, especially in the areas of economy, security, infrastructure, and the fight against corruption. However, the new year 2020 will not have come without more expectations from Nigerians.
Now, the current president is trying towards that, and we are praying to give him the hope. We are praying to give him the support to lead us well towards the vision we have always been.
My expectation is that the year 2020 will be much better than 2019. Even from the speeches or the letters written by the president, I said so many things.
We are expecting that this year 2020 will be a very wonderful year, special year and great year for us.
We human beings, the ways of God are different, our own ways are different. So there's nothing that is impossible before God.
They are, however, of the view that all hands must be on deck for the country to move forward.
In Makurdi, I am Hussaini Mohammed Isa, NTA News.
And still on money matters, the Central Bank of Nigeria recently reviewed charges, fees, and also issued new guidelines for banking services in Nigeria. In view of this, Nigerians are hopeful that this will drive financial inclusion by providing efficient transaction options and greater reach. Udwak Etim completes the report.
In furtherance of Central Bank of Nigeria's quest to make financial services more accessible and affordable to various stakeholders, The bank introduces new policies that will take effect from January 2020. Among the new policies are reduction of the withdrawal fee charged for the use of bank's automated teller machine, ATM, to 35 naira, as against the 65 naira usually deducted after a third monthly transaction. Cards linked to savings accounts, the maintenance fee had been reduced to a maximum fee of 50 naira per quarter from 50 naira per month. These policies prompted reactions from Nigerians.
I appreciate the CBN for what they have tried to do, but on my own thinking, I think they should remove all the charges.
If the central bank will, do what they have said, I personally will appreciate.
On debit card charges, the new guidelines stipulated that a one-off charge of 1,000 naira applied to the issuance of cards irrespective of type.
Operating current account and COT is being taken from me from every payment being made into my account and every deduction being made. I want to say that government should do something to wipe it out completely.
It would be good for the CBN to put up a monitoring body to work with the financial institution to keep to the policy.
Nigerians believe these policies, if implemented by financial institutions, will help the country aligned with market development. In Uyo, Uduak Etam, NTA News.
Now to the judiciary, where the Federal High Court, the Federal Capital Territory High Court sitting in Maitama, has granted the application of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission to extend the detention of the former Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Mohammed Bello Adoke, SAN, in its custody. The vacation judge, Justice Othman Musa, gave the order, having taken a look at the ex parte application brought before the court by the EFCC counsel, Aisha Habib. The order is to keep the former Minister of Justice for additional 14 days pending his arraignment. The former Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Mohammed Bello Adoke, SAN, was arrested for alleged abuse of office and involvement in the Malabo oil deal. And it's time to join Dotun in Lagos for more reports from that zone. It's over to you, Dotun. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too, Hawa, and a warm welcome to Lagos. Official statistics released by the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency shows there were more collapsed buildings and fire outbreaks in the state in 2019 as against previous years, with numbers of deaths recorded and millions of property lost. Ken Igbeluge takes a look at measures put in place by concerned authorities to prevent reoccurrence in the year 2020, as well as a situation report from some of the affected areas.
Perhaps the fire that gutted this building in Balogun Market, three-story building at Itafaji, residential building at Global Road, Ikoyi, another two-story building at Mercy Street in Lagos, and several other areas in the state could be regarded as major disasters that occurred in Lagos in 2019. A visit to these affected areas after several months the incident occurred showed that the people in the affected areas have moved on with their lives.
Yeah, don't burn. You just try because you don't get another business to do. With the manager.
I can tell you that we just manage. Business no fix.
Deployment of professionals and adherence to best global practices in building construction are some measures adopted by concerned authorities and professionals in reducing disasters in the state.
Sensitization, advocacy to all corners, changing the people orientation.
The government has done its own because right now if you are building, you're expected to have a fire certificate, you're expected to be sure that there's a building control, to be sure that you have your the structure of the building is stable. But we circumvent a lot.
While government is making efforts to ensure that there is quality control in construction, developers, on the other hand, have been challenged not to be dubious in the discharge of their duties. In Lagos, Ken Igbeluge, NTA News.
Now, the public holidays and major seasons festivities may be over in Lagos, but the ambience in the state is relatively hustle and bustle-free. Abalero Ogbara, who went around town, filed this report.
The smooth, easy ride experienced by me today after the public holidays is clear indication that most Lagos residents that traveled out of the state for holidays are not back. Major roads in the state noted for traffic jams are devoid of the usual heavy vehicular movement that characterize them.
There's more breathing space. There's more here in Lagos, and there are little people, you understand, like people have traveled, and that way, I think it's better now than then.
I keep on praying that it will remain like this, and the present government should try and make sure that Lagos remain like this. At least if you are coming to work and you wake up and get to the road, you'll be happy to come to work. But like last 2 weeks, man, when you wake up to come to work, you will decide that, man, I feel like I'm not going to work, but you must go to work because mom must survive.
Just came from Lafia, and in less than 2 minutes we are here. So I wish Lagos can be like this all the time, just like in Abuja.
Although buying and selling are happening daily at markets in the state, many offices and shops are still closed for the New Year celebrations.
Right now, Lagos is somehow boring because people have traveled. As you can see, the road is free, most of the shops are closed, and it's just because of the holidays.
It is expected that normal activities will return to Lagos State after the weekend. In Lagos, Abolore Ogbara, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from Lagos. Nationwide continues after this break. Please stay with us.
They swore an oath to serve our fatherland and defend the people. They traded their freedom, comfortable homes and mortgaged their lives on the battleground for our unity and peaceful living. These are the great, fearless, loyal and committed Nigerian armed forces who risked their lives courageously to safeguard our borders. But in the line of duty, many never returned. Nigerians, arise, let's celebrate our fallen heroes. Put on the remembrance emblem with pride to support the incapacitated and families of our fallen heroes.
It is indeed befitting to honor the memory of the gallant hearts of the men who paid the supreme sacrifice to keep the united.
President Muhammadu Buhari enjoins all ministries, parastatals, religious and corporate bodies to donate generously to the Emblem Appeal Launch. Send your donations to these accounts. Account name, Emblem Appeal Launch. Account number 393-200-7526. EcoBank Nigeria PLC.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous, whether you do it for fun or for political gains. Real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA.
You can follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook at NTA Network News, Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube at NTA News Online, or visit www.nta.ng. For live streaming, visit www.nta.ng/live. Now, you can stay updated on the go, be it on your TV, iPhone, laptop, or iPad, or download the NTA mobile application from your Play Store or App Store. NTA, you can beat the rich.
When you hear that sound, you know that Nigeria's most authentic newscast is about to begin. NTA Network News, breaking the news for over 40 years.
We have come to the end of another successful year, and we wish to appreciate all those that mean so much to us: our sponsors, our clients, government at all levels, corporate bodies, advertisers, religious bodies, civil society groups, political parties, and above all, you, our esteemed viewer. Together, we made 2019 great. Together, we shall make 2020 even greater. That is why we say thank you. This is wishing you Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year.
Thanks for rejoining us. It's Nationwide. The late Olushola Saraki's property, Ile Arugbo, translated as Home of the Elderly in Ilorin, said to be illegal, is under demolition. The demolition started early Thursday morning, bringing down the building under a heavy security cover provided by the police. The building is said to have been allocated to a private company, ASA Investment, belonging to the Sarakis, but the papers were not perfected as no CFO was issued. To security matters now, several Boko Haram terrorists have been neutralized and some structures in their camp at Abulam in the Sambisa forest area of Borno State destroyed in airstrikes conducted by the Air Task Force of Operation Lafia Dole. A statement by the Nigerian Air Force reveals that the mission marked the commencement of Operation Rattlesnake 2, an air interdiction operation aimed at taking out some identified insurgents' camp and logistic facilities in order to further unhinge the terrorist center of gravity and diminish their fighting capability. Abulam was attacked based on credible intelligence reports indicating that the terrorists had resumed using the once abandoned settlement as a staging point from where they launched attacks against on-ground troops locations. It will be recalled that mid-December 2019, the Nigerian Air Force planned and executed the highly successful Operation Rattlesnake 1. Operation Rattlesnake 2 is planned to consolidate the gains of the earlier operation and shape the battle space for further air and ground operations. Similarly, troops Lafia Dole and the multinational Joint Task Force have rescued 165 victims from Boko Haram captivity. A statement by the Nigerian Army Operations Media Coordinator, Colonel Aminu Ilyasu, indicates that the victims, mostly women and children, were liberated during the clearance operations in northern Borno. Colonel Ilyasu notes that 75 suspected terrorists were arrested, others killed, arms and 15 cars recovered during the encounter. Similarly, repentant militias in Lantan, North and South local government areas of Plateau State have surrendered several arms to troops of Forward Operation Base in Shandam, Plateau State. And to sustain the prevailing pace in Jigawa State, the State Police Command is taking proactive measures to prevent farmers and herders friction associated with harvesting season. Ibrahim Sani reports that the state is collaborating with the traditional institution in that regard.
The hardest conflicts remain predominantly a resources conflict in northern Nigeria. Despite the obstruction witnessed in some parts of the country, it is believed that in Jigawa State, the relationship between farmers and herders remain peaceful. The feat is achieved as a result of sustained commitment by stakeholders, especially security agencies and traditional rulers. Jigawa State Police Commissioner Usman Sula Gabna commended Emir Abduse, among other traditional rulers, for the feat. He says a good record of peaceful coexistence in Jigawa State needs to be sustained.
The traditional institution can make a lot of impact in bringing these two groups together so that there should be peace. And that will mean talking to them, dialoguing is what we want.
Emir Abduse Alhaji Muhammad Sanusi says Duse Emirate will continue to contribute its quota towards sustainable development.
We will continue to bother you on issues that will help you as the most senior police officer, so that what you will achieve what others also have in this state.
On the harmonious coexistence between farmers and herders in the state, the royal father says the feat was achieved through peaceful resolution, mediation of conflict and settlement of dispute to ensure that the social order is maintained. In Dulce, Ibrahim Sani, NTA News.
And Diba Bari is on standby in Port Harcourt with details of Governor Nwike's meeting with traditional rulers as well as other reports. It's over to you, Diba Bari.
And welcome to Port Harcourt. Happy New Year to you. River State Governor Nyesom Wike says he has no anti-Ijaw agenda, emphasizing that his actions on the Suku oil wells are in defense of the assets of the state. The governor reaffirmed the standpoint while addressing the quarterly meeting of the River State Council of Traditional Rulers. Ogediekwe completes the report.
Governor Wike said every action he has taken towards the recovery of the Suku oil field is in the interest of the state and the protection of its assets.
You have vast unutilized farmlands and coastlines all around you. Yet, most of your youth and everybody are unemployed and hopelessly poor because you are afraid to attract, encourage and support them to have recourse to commercial agriculture to advance their socio-economic progress and prosperity. We must therefore come to terms with the fact that the only way to change the present abysmal socio-economic narratives in our communities for the better is through careful planning.
Chairman, River State Council of Traditional Rulers and Amenable of Opobo, King Dandison Jaja, commended the state government for the acquisition of OML 11 in Kola and the recovery of the Suku oil well through the court.
Such decision can only be taken by a government that thinks about the welfare of its people.
The gathering is the 112th quarterly meeting of the River State Council of Traditional Rulers. In Port Harcourt, Ogediekwe, NTA News.
Overcoming the challenges of parenting is largely dependent on the grace of God through prayers and sustainability of friendship and discipline in the family. Wife of River State Governor Justice Susan Wike reiterated this shortly after visiting the baby of the year at the River State University Teaching Hospital, Port Harcourt. Again, Ogediekwe reports.
Wife of River State Governor Justice Wike, who was at the River State University Teaching Hospital, welcomed the new babies and presented them with gifts. Their mothers were not left out of the gesture. Justice Wike said safe delivery of healthy babies is a function of the mother's healthy status during pregnancy.
I bring you the love of His Excellency to every one of you new mothers in this world and your babies. I'm really excited. I can't think of a better way to start the year than to have 3 bouncing, beautiful baby girls. It's amazing.
In her usual fashion, she advised Rivers women to raise godly children that will be responsible adults.
Parenting is not an easy job. It's challenging, and every stage in the child's life comes with its peculiar challenge. So I want to encourage every parent to hold fast and have faith, knowing that God will give them the grace to take care of all their responsibilities.
She prayed that the grace of God will continue to rest on Rivers mothers and their children. In Port Harcourt, Ogediekwe, NTA News.
The resurgence of soot in River State is of serious concern to keen watchers of the environment as they called for an urgent policy to end gas flaring and related activities in the Niger Delta region. Environmental Rights Action, an environmental advocacy group, is urging Port Harcourt residents to take precautions against the ugly trend, particularly at night. Robinson Durataide has the details.
Air pollution resulting from soot was a major phenomenon that dominated the airwaves a few years ago in Port Harcourt. Findings indicate that soot has resurfaced in River State, particularly Port Harcourt, in a higher dimension, which is injurious to human health and the ecosystem. According to experts, 6 million people die yearly from airborne disease resulting from pollution impacts, and the proximity of Port Harcourt residents to constant gas flaring increase the risk to their health and the environment.
We need our government to move, deal with pollution, gas flaring, deal with bushfire, deal with emission from our cars, deal with our generators. And how do you deal with the generators? You provide electricity, clean, reliable, renewable electricity for our people. How do you deal with the gas flaring? You stop.
Mostly in the nights, we notice this thing goes on high volume. So they could wear nose masks. They could also close their windows, mostly at night, to reduce the amount of particulate matter that goes into their houses. So they could close their windows at night. They should try and be more indoors than outdoors this period.
They further advised food and fruit vendors to always cover their goods to avoid contamination from the soot. In Port Harcourt, Robinson Derateide, NTA News.
And that does it from Port Harcourt. It's back to Hawa for the rest of the news. Good evening.
Many thanks to you, Diba Bari. Moving on, the United Nations has described the process and conduct of the 2019 presidential elections in Guinea-Bissau as peaceful and credible. Special Representative of the Secretary General of the UN for West Africa and the Sahel, Mohamed Ibn Chambers, gave the commendation while fielding questions from correspondent Musbau Dan Wahab in Bissau.
The UN is very impressed with what we have seen. In fact, just as with the first round, this second round of presidential elections have gone very smoothly. The Electoral Commission obviously has done a thorough job. All the materials were delivered on time. And from what the ECOWAS, what the African Union, what the US and others who have observed are reporting is that the elections were very peaceful and the process itself very transparent and free. And indeed, that's what the UN also has observed.
So what do you think these developments will bring for Guinea-Bissau that has been experiencing years of political unrest?
Since independence, the country has been ruled by a major political party, the PAIGC, and this PAIGC party all these years has been in power. This election has been won by the opposition, be it that it was a breakaway of leaders of the PIGC to go and form their own party, but the fact is that they contested against the PIGC and they won. So we are also witnessing for the first time an alternation of power in Guinea-Bissau. This is significant. We hope this will usher in a new era in which we can witness a period of continued stability and peace so that the country can now move on with the important business of fighting poverty and tackling the development challenges that it faces.
Excellency, we really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Bar.
And back home in Nigeria, the need to reposition the justice sector is being advocated in order to build confidence in the system. Guest on NTA's program, Good Morning Nigeria, who's called the sector eye, made this appeal while taking a look at projections for the country's justice sector in 2020. Alika Okwanachi Arua reports.
The activities of Nigerian justice sector has been commended, especially as they aided the speedy dispensation of justice and obedience to the rule of law. Though guests on Good Morning Nigeria insist a lot still needs to be done to reduce some of the major bottlenecks in the sector.
There is a need for the government to increase the funding of the judiciary. I understand that there are limitations in funding everywhere, but I think judiciary is a very special species.
We have not given enough attention as a country to the justice sector over the years. I'm not talking about this administration. In fact, this administration has done more than most of the previous government in regard to the respect, and creating an efficient and functional judiciary.
While recounting the achievements of the justice sector in the fight against corruption, insecurity, and economic development, among others, the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, appealed to the public to have more faith in the sector. He further cleared the air on developments regarding the process and industrial development, P&ID judgments.
The issue is in line with the tradition. When an agreement is drafted involving a Nigerian state or an agency, ministry, department, agency of government, the starting point is for the Office of the Attorney General to vet the agreement and ensure at the end of the day that the interest of the nation is adequately protected. That agreement was never ever passed through the office of the Attorney General of the Federation for vetting.
The guests advised the Ministry of Justice to embark on periodic sensitization of the public on its activities. In Abuja, Alika Okpanachi, Arua, NTA News.
2019 is reported to be a remarkable year for the transportation sector in Nigeria, as many describe the industry as a true reflection of the next level agenda of the Buhari administration. Oyinaya Kaluoka in the special report x-rays the sector and its impacts on Nigerians.
If one says the transportation industry in Nigeria enjoyed so much attention in 2019, it may not be far from the truth based on the projects on ground, from state of neglect, decay and abandonment to that of life, transformation and revolution. Let's start with the rail sector. For more than 30 years, the Itakpe-Warri-Ajaokuta rail project was abandoned. In 2019, the track laying for the 320 kilometers rail line was completed. Test running started since 2018.
We are so happy now. We appreciate this government because since we were born, we have not seen life like this.
Determined to link the city centers with vibrant rail system, federal government and the Chinese construction company signed an agreement of $3.9 billion to extend the Itakpe-Warri-Ajaokuta line to Abuja and the Warri ports.
This is part of the next level agenda of His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari to address the huge deficit of infrastructure we have.
Another huge project is the 126 kilometers Lagos-Ibadan standard gauge rail line that has commenced free ride for passengers for test running.
My experience is wonderful.
We'll agree that this is the first time we're taking a ride to Ibadan major station. So shouldn't you commend them that they have been able to get to the end of the 156 kilometers?
This project created hundreds of direct and indirect jobs.
The opening of this place, we are benefiting from this place.
The rapid development in the transportation sector was taken a step further in 2019 with the groundbreaking ceremonies of the University of Transportation in Daura, Katsina State, and the wagon assembly plant in Kajola, Ogun State. The University of Transportation, expected to be completed in 18 months, will domesticate railway engineering and transportation in Nigeria besides job creation. Once this university is inaugurated, I will apply.
Anything about transportation engineering, transportation management, economics, I think it will be covered in this university.
The wagon assembly plant in Kajola, Ogun State, is to meet the needs of providing about 500 wagons yearly.
We are very happy because without this project, nobody will know Kajola.
Is the development in the transportation sector only affecting the rail? The answer is capital no, as the maritime sector is also witnessing key transformation. The Barrow River port, neglected for years, was revived to a modern port and inaugurated by President Muhammadu Buhari. Federal government also gave approval to the Cross River State government for the construction of the Bakassi deep sea ports. For transparency, efficiency and ease of doing business at the ports, the Nigerian Shippers Council organized a sub-regional summit on high shipping charges. Tackling insecurity at the Gulf of Guinea was a major issue at the Global Maritime Security Conference. From all indications, many Nigerians believe that 2020 is going to be a bright year for the transportation sector with the federal government's commitment as they await the inauguration of the Itakpe-Warri line as well as the Lagos-Ibadan rail line. Also the kicking off of the coastal line and the Ibadan to Kano rail line. They are also awaiting from the maritime sector the inland dry port in other zones and the truck transit park. Oyinaya Kaluoka, NTA News.
Many thanks, Oyinaya. And in continuation of sectorial reviews of 2019, Joshua Odito takes a look at how the power sector fared.
Challenging
shortages of power in Nigeria persist in 2019 as Nigerians grappled with inadequate power supply. In fact, record shows that power distribution in 2019 hovered between 2,000 to 5,114.2 megawatts, which industry players say is inadequate for the country. But the narrative is changing as federal government sustains investment in the sector in 2019 under its power sector recovery program, expected to provide additional 2,000 megawatts of electricity to be added on the national grid.
The ministry under my leadership has articulated 5 key focal areas through which the aspiration of Mr. President to ensure energy sufficiency in power can be achieved in line with the power sector recovery program. Number 1, electricity market liquidity and sustainability. And number 2, infrastructure alignment, both transmission and distribution. 3, fast-track implementation of federal government intervention projects, that is Mambila Hydro Power, Zungiro Hydro, Jigawa Solar City.
There is also the signing of electricity roadmap agreement between federal government and the German-based Siemens to achieve 25,000 megawatts of electricity to Nigerians by the year 2025.
The Siemens agreement will boost capacity in terms of generation, in terms of resolving the issues of the bottlenecks in the distribution interface.
Another watershed in the power sector in 2019 is the inauguration of ad hoc committee to review status and ownership structure of distribution companies headed by the governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai. The decision industry players describe as milestone towards improving the capacity of distribution companies. Similarly, the 22-man ministerial task force set up by the Minister of Power, Saleh Momo, to drive the reforms in the sector raises hope of improved power supply in the year 2020.
The task force is going to take time to study the sector thoroughly, look at the specific aspects that have not changed over the years.
As part of the ongoing reorganization and restructuring of the Ministry of Power for efficient service delivery, the Minister of Power rounded off the year with the suspension of Managing Director of Rural Electrification Agency, Damilola Ogumbi, and Managing Director of Nigerian Bulk Electricity Trading Company, Marilyn Amobi. Also in 2019, the National Union of Electricity Employees embarked on one-day strike to press on their demands, and the intervention of the National Assembly seems to have mended imminent shock circuits in electricity supply in the country. In Abuja, Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
And it's time to join our Jos Network Center, where Zenret will give us an update on how residents of the cold city are coping with the cold weather, which I understand has dropped to 9 degrees. Hello, Zenret.
Hawa, and welcome to Jos. As the Harmattan cold intensifies, residents of Jos, including visitors, seem prepared for the weather, with temperature expected to come down to 6 degrees centigrade later tonight. Sadat Mohammed Kafa went round the city this morning and tells us how people are coping with the cold.
Residents of Jos woke up this morning with an intense cold weather, which according to the Nigerian Meteorological Agency is at 9 degrees. The weather, however, did not hinder residents from going about their normal activities. As funny or crazy those dressings may be, it is all in a bid to shield themselves from cold.
This morning, if you can see the way I dress, it really shows that the weather is very, very cold this morning.
As you can see, I came actually dressed prepared for it to avoid any stories that touches.
As you can see, I wore 2 hoods on my body, 2 caps, because the cold is too high. So there's nothing we can do with the times.
The popular saying goes, one man's meat is another man's poison. While residents of Jos are lamenting over the harsh weather, dealers, on the other hand, are taking the opportunity to make bricks business.
The people that are buying clothes, Harmattan clothes, they are buying it more than the past season.
The cold weather associated to Plateau State perhaps is common among residents, but for those visiting for the first time, welcome to Jos. Saadat Muhammad Kafa, NTA News.
Second day into the new year, and with resumption of work by civil servants, motor parks in Jos have continued to witness an influx of people. Caleb Gochin saw it all.
Jos was at its old self today, with temperatures going as low as 9 degrees centigrade. This, of course, could not deter those traveling out of the state from visiting the parks early enough to catch the available vehicles to their destinations. We are now at the NTA Park, where passengers traveling to places like Mina, Kaduna, Benue come to board vehicles. We will hear from them actually how it feels to go back to their destinations after the New Year break.
Most importantly, the journey messes. Even when coming and now I'm going, I pray for journey messes. So it's going to be good because most especially the weather here is not funny. Like today is 9 degrees. So you see, and I'm going back to Mina. That is a place that is hot a bit, you know.
So people do fear of traveling during celebration time. Even when we are coming, we just have to pray to God to lead us to where we are coming safe.
Honestly, I don't feel like going, but the weather is so cold here. But I really enjoyed my stay, and I'm going back to resume work as well. So.
The cheering news about this year's trip to the commuters is that transport fares have remained the same, which could be attributed to the availability of fuel.
Even during the festive period, they don't increase money, you know, we still pay 2.5 going back to Mina, so I think it's good. And
the transport fare is normal. We didn't increase anything on the transport, and everybody is moving normally.
We were also at the popular Bauchi Road Park, where the passengers, who are mostly traders, were boarding out of the park. In Jos, Caleb Gochin, NTA News.
A Jos-based non-governmental organization, Al Wifaq Foundation, has developed a new approach towards the support of Almajiri welfare through an e-wallet system propelled online to provide food, medical and welfare needs of the Almajiri child. The maiden edition of the program targets some selected 1,000 Almajiri children within the city of Jos. Abba Abubakar Yakubu reports.
The Food and Shelter Support Program by the Al Wifaq Foundation is designed to cater for some basic needs of the Almajiri children. Initiators of the project programmed it to offer a token of 5,000 naira in an e-wallet for each Almajiri to take care of his basic needs for 7 days. 100 food bundle women were engaged in the service of this project to provide 3 square daily meals to the selected beneficiaries from different Angaya schools in Jos.
We are very happy with this organization because we are having difficulty in begging for food.
Street begging is very hard. I would like to appealing out for working about looking for what to eat. This is a small way of giving our quota to complement government effort towards reforming our Almajiri system.
One thing that bothers most of the guests is the issue of how to sustain the program.
This is a system of education that is meant to empower young people to master, the Holy Quran. But today they are the denigrates, the rejects of the society.
Assistant Director News, NTA Network Center Jos, Malam Sanibin Saluhu, among other distinguished personalities, was presented with an award of honor for their selfless service to humanity in Jos. Abba Abubakar Yakubu, NTA News.
That's it from Jos. It's back to Hawa in Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Many thanks to you, and moving on, the uniqueness of Nassau State is its cultural diversity. To this end, a festival is in progress in Lafia, showcasing the heritage of the people towards the promotion of unity and understanding. Let's now join Aliu Tijani Mohammed for more.
Communities across the 13 local government areas of the state and specialized groups are attending.
The fact that people participate in the event is an expression of willingness to forge ahead in unity and understanding in tandem with dreams of founding fathers. While many applaud the initiative, Governor Abdullahi Sule on his part says government will continue to support organizers to bring people together for harmonious coexistence.
So it's an opportunity that we are displaying our cultures, very rich cultures that we have in Nasarawa State to the outside world. So I thank you for coming up with these ideas that we should have an event like this.
He says government will support youth in various vocations for self-sufficiency. In Lafia, Aliu Tijani Mohammed, NTA News.
And in Benin, residents set agenda for the government in 2020. Ogochukuka is our guide. Compliments of the season to you.
Compliments, Hawa. Thank you for joining us. As the new year begins, the federal government has been urged to work towards improving more on the country's economy to attract more investors. Again, implementation of policies and programs that will drive economic growth is the wish of the people in Edo and Ondo states. Ivie Oyakire reports.
Education, agriculture, security, science and technology, infrastructural development, sports, business and economy are areas the people are yearning for attention from the government.
Number one, about security, they should take care of it. Take care also about agriculture, because Nigeria is a very fertile land. We will not be here and then importing foodstuff. And power, light. If we have enough light, there will be job everywhere. Our industries will grow.
We need peace and tranquility. When there is peace, there will be development and progress. Then, Almajiri system of education should be improved on, because the issue of children, roaming the street begging when they're supposed to be in school should be discouraged.
I will also advise the citizens to be good citizens. They should do what they ought to do. They should pay their taxes. They should obey civil authority.
Without security, there is no atmosphere for education and the health sector. So that is what the first thing I want the federal government to do. The world is technologically driven. We have passed the era of manual or whatever. So the emphasis should be investment on technology.
As a new decade begins, the people are hopeful that the government will be ready to deliver to them and continue in the process of making a change in all areas of the economy. In Benin, Ivie Oyakire, NTA News.
And women in Edo State have interceded for a peaceful, united and progressive Nigeria in the new year and beyond. This was at this year's edition of Mother Decree Thin Prayer Summit in Benin City. Again, Ivie Oyakire reports.
The task of making Nigeria greater is a collective responsibility. This year's edition of the Prayer Summit, with women drawn from within and outside the state, afforded them the opportunity to intercede for Nigeria and its people. The convener of the program, Pastor Margaret Agboifo, led the prayer session for Nigeria, making decrees for effective leadership, restoration of the country's fortunes, and an end to insurgency, violence, youthful delinquencies, as well as political stability in Edo State, especially as governorship election is billed to hold later in the year.
The wickedness of the wicked in our land will come to an end in Jesus' name. God will redeem our land. Amen. Because his word told us in Psalm 44 verse 26, he said, arise for our help and redeem us for thy mercy's sake. God will redeem Edo State for his mercy's sake. Amen. God will redeem Nigeria for his mercy's sake. Amen. You who are under this sun today, God will redeem you for his mercy's sake. Amen. Whatever you suffer 2019, it will not repeat itself this year. Amen.
Decrees were also made for the church, families and marriages to manifest the will of God. In Benin, Ivie Oyakire, NTA News.
You're still watching Nationwide. The news continues after the break. Please stay.
My name is Yemi Adetunji, the COO downstream of NNPC. Ever since the closure of the borders, we have seen a marked reduction of about 10% in terms of the evacuation of what you call loadouts of PMS, which equates to about 6 million liters per day, essentially because of the border closure, because of certain aspects we've also done as NNPC, working with our sister organizations, sister agencies, Nigerian Customs, DPR, Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources, and other agencies, and also what we call Operation White, which is an intervention we have put in place to trace and track every molecule of petroleum products as they arrive in country through the vessels, as they move through the depots, and as they are evacuated with trucks out of the depots.
Not so fast. Look, I'm tired. I want to check out of this country for greener pastures.
Just calm down for a moment. Please sit down.
Do you have a job where you're going to? No, but someone is arranging,
Listen, Alinko. Checking out of this country without proper planning means one thing. Unimaginable begin. You know, I've been in the diaspora, but legitimately doing great things at home and abroad. As I've been saying, without the proper footing abroad, the risk is not worth it. Listen, Alinko, it's better to be home than be trapped abroad, or even end up in prison.
Get the latest news and updates from across Nigeria on NTA Nationwide. NTA Nationwide, weekdays by 4 p.m. Get it first, get it fresh.
Thanks for rejoining us. It's Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Sports now. Nigeria clinches first sports gold medal.